Hi. So today's topic is a little controversial. And I feel the need to make this video because I've been consuming content online and I realize that there is a difference between knowing a destination and understanding it. And I think that distinction is becoming increasingly important in today's travel industry because over the last few years, something has changed dramatically. More so in the last, I would say, a year and a half. Travel content is becoming increasingly disconnected from the lived reality. And I say this not only about the foreign advisors or foreign content creators, but even about many Indian DMCs and travel professionals today whose content I've actually gone through, have consumed it. And why I'm saying this is because today the information is everywhere. You can do everything instantly. You can generate itineraries instantly. You can create destination content in minutes. You can build visually beautiful presentations without ever physically having experienced the place yourself. I personally love artificial intelligence. I love the AI tools. I use them myself. But what I'm seeing is that somewhere in the process, uh, a lot of content creators, a lot of DMCs in the travel industry are today confusing information with understanding. And travel is not only data. It's the atmosphere of the place. It's the timing. What time do you go and see a building? It's like if you're going to see the Palace of the Winds in Jaipur, why should you do it in the morning? Because the sun is directly on the building and you get the best pictures. It's about the rhythm, it's the pulse of the city, what you see. There's a lot of emotion involved. When we travel, what we see does bring out a lot of emotions in us. And then there is unpredictability about travel. There is that human interaction. You get tired, there's the fatigue that comes into play. There's a whole lot of things, which as a former trip leader, I personally believe have to be experienced. You just simply cannot live them from a screen. So, as I said, I was a trip leader from 1989 till 2005. I spent I spent many years traveling across India, Nepal, and Bhutan, and I can tell you this with a lot of honesty that the destination that you read about and the destination that you physically experience are two very different things. And once you have lived and seen this from the lens of a traveler, you understand the difference. Sitting in our office, we may know the monuments, the hotel names, which flight connection is the best suited, what are the sightseeing places that you have to see. But honestly speaking, that does not mean that you understand the destination. You don't understand it at all just from looking at the pictures or from reading about that. Because the real understanding only comes when you have spent time on the ground. Like they say, feet on the ground. That's the best way to understand the destination. You see how the travelers react to a particular monument. That used to be my favorite pastime. Once I had given my clients some free time during my trip leading days in Amber Fort or in other monuments, I would sit down and observe the others. That also told you how you wanted to present the destination, how people react to it, what kind of pacing works the best. You understand in which particular season do you need to go to which monument earlier. You speak to the local people, you get insights, and that is how you experience the nuance of that culture firsthand. Because I believe you cannot truly sell or represent a destination you have never deeply experienced yourself. And trust me on this, because when I started promoting Taiwan in the Middle East, my very first question was, what is there in Taiwan? Why should anybody be traveling to Taiwan? What can they see there? But when I got there, I realized that it had nature which was absolutely beautiful. It was a beautiful country. So, till you've never really experienced it, you cannot sell it, you can't promote it. We can't promote it from the lens of your screen. You can't, just because you've read about it, you can't be an expert in that. More so in the luxury space, because luxury travelers today are not buying logistics, they're buying trust and they're buying authenticity. The thing that I started noticing is that travel storytelling is itself becoming increasingly homogenized. Now, every destination is being described in the same manner. It's a hidden, untouched, immersive, authentic, luxurious, transformational. I mean, there are lots of beautiful words that you are throwing out there. I see destinations using these words. But what is happening with this is everything is starting to sound the same. See, destinations are never the same. No two destinations are alike. A river cruise on the Brahmaputra cannot be compared to cruising the Ganges. What you experience at the Kaziranga National Park when you're on the boat versus what you see when you are driving through Buxar, they're two different things altogether. A Kana is not a Ranthambore. A Mandava is not Jaipur. And if you're wanting to become a storyteller, if you're wanting to be the writer and you've not experienced these places yourself, you've not lived in them, then the nuances that are there in a story disappear completely. I read a lot of marketing language. I don't see the nuances. And I think this is going to be very dangerous for the industry in the long term. See, we are anyway struggling. Our government is not doing much when it comes to inbound. If we who are promoting it also, we also don't understand this, then I think we are heading for troubled waters. Why today? Because today it matters more than ever. See, AI is going to continue to improve and it'll do so rapidly, which means that the content generation is going to become not only faster but also easier and cheaper. And because of that, lived experiences will actually be more valuable, not less. So, as somebody who has been a trip leader, as a former trip leader, I see that in the world of AI, I clearly have a differentiator when I talk to my agents. I believe that the people who have these lived experiences are the ones who are going to stand out in the future, and they will generate better content than what AI is generating because they will bring the depth and the perspective to the destination. There's nuances that I've been talking about. They'll have the emotional understanding. They'll know what it is because when they describe these words, when they describe these cities, that emotion is going to come out, and they will be able to explain it with real world experiences because destinations are ultimately human experiences. Let's not treat them as digital assets alone. In my opinion, I believe that the travel industry needs to protect this distinction and make sure that the destinations stay the human experiences and not be treated as digital assets. I am not against technology, far from it. I am a huge advocate for technology. I do appreciate and realize that AI will become an extraordinary support tool for us in the travel industry. But what I also want to say is we need to be careful about one thing. We should not allow the convenience to replace the immersion because there will never be a substitute for having walked the streets yourself, of having stayed in a hotel and having experienced the destination from that, having observed the people who travel, ask questions to the people on the ground, understand the local pulse. There is never going to be a substitute for that. You can generate information instantly, but wisdom still demands time on the ground.